Hey, what's up, yo? It's Noka2 coming at you with another comic haul. So, I know it's been a little bit since my last haul video. For those of you that have been kind enough to watch my videos, thank you. But you also know that I initially started doing these haul videos to kind of cultivate my son's enthusiasm to become a YouTuber. We did some videos and he's watched them, got a kick out of them. He's wanted to do some videos. Say hi, Max.
Hi.
He's wanted to do. I really thought by now he would be doing videos with me on his own channel, but he's a little on the shy side, so we haven't been able to get him to get in front of the camera yet, other than his hand. He wanted me to continue to do comic haul videos so that he could ease
My
in.
dad cost $50. My dad bought it for $59.
So he's, I really thought by now he would be doing videos with me, but he's still on the shy side. He's wanted me to continue to do these haul videos and maybe make a voice appearance or even a photo appearance on the videos. So as he said, I showed this comic on my last haul video. It was raw, ungraded. But I love this cover. Miss Marvel number 31, the variant by Stephanie Hans. It's probably raw a $10 to $20 book. And I saw this on eBay as a buy it now, 9.8, already graded for $59, like my son said. And so I decided, hey, I want another copy. So I picked that up. I'm really starting to dig Stephanie Hans. I'm liking her art covers. Her interior is okay, but her covers are beautiful. I ordered this comic here by Stephanie Hans, Captain Marvel number 1. And I ordered it as a set because from an online retailer, because I wanted that cover and then the Adam Hughes Captain Marvel number 1. Because Adam Hughes is probably one of my favorite cover artists. And so I bought those two together as a set. Both of these comics, if you bought them individually, it was going to cost the same if you got these two separate. So, like, you could buy Adam Hughes' cover by itself, or you could buy Stephanie Hans' cover by itself. But individually, it was almost the same price as if you bought the set, and the set came with this cover by Lauren. I think her last name is pronounced Sai. And then it also came with the movie variant. So I picked, I wasn't really after these two, but it was essentially getting them free by buying the set. And so I got that set. Stephanie Hans is also doing a new series by Image. Haven't read it yet, and to be honest, I only got it because of the cover. That's Die. I think her kind of trademark style that she's doing, I don't know if it's trademark, but her signature style, I guess you could say, is the flowing hair of her female heroines. So that's Die. I really like that cover too. And so I got 3 of those at cover price. I do buy a lot of comics just for the cover. Because I get a lot of my comics online as a monthly pull from an online retailer. Some of these comics have already been shown by other haulers. But Yasmin Putri really started to get hot due to her B covers for Nightwing as well as Red Hood and the Outlaws. And I think this is a beautiful cover. I love this cover of Nightwing. It was going for a $10 to $15 book right out of the gate. I was fortunate enough to get 5 copies. I really like that cover. I think over time it may have some value, so I bought that comic. Now, like I've mentioned before, we don't really have a LCS in my area. There is a toy store that has started to dabble in comics. His store has probably about 30 plus long boxes. Initially, they were all $1, but as time has gone on, because he's the only show in town, people are bringing their collections and they're selling it to him, and so he has started to have other books in the back issue bins that are $2, $3, as high as $10. Even some, and he has a kind of a glass showcase with books that are pricier. At one point he had a very beat up copy of Amazing Spider-Man #4 that was probably maybe a 3, and I think he wanted a couple grand for it, and he sold that too. So because of that, I do go in regularly to find comics because people bring in their collections. And I've bought quite a few books over the years now. As far as new comics, he doesn't carry a lot of titles. He doesn't carry all of the titles. For example, he doesn't carry Aquaman. He says Aquaman doesn't sell, so he doesn't carry that title anymore. As far as independents, I think he only carries Walking Dead and Spawn. He doesn't carry any of the other titles, mostly just those 2 Image copies titles. So, but what I did find recently in the last month there was this issue here, Volume 1, Firestorm #1, which I paid
$20.
$20, which I thought was a good deal. This was a near mint copy. The corners are sharp, high gloss, tight staples, off white to white pages. He had just got that in, and for $20, I thought that was a good deal. And he did have the entire run of that 1 through 5. I, for some reason, had 2, 4, and 5 already. But I did not have #1, and I did not have #3, which he had, and I also paid $20 for that. As my son said, $20. So, and this also, again, was in near mint. The corners are sharp, staples are tight, glossy cover, and I thought for $20,
That's a good deal.
that's a good deal. So, don't do that. So anyway, so I picked those up. Now, this next book I've had for years, and it's been sitting in my office desk drawer under a stack of magazines, kind of unintentionally being cold pressed. This book I got before even the very first Avengers movie, so I've had this book a while, and it's probably my favorite Avenger for sure. And one of my favorite characters altogether. I do love Amazing Spider-Man, Batman, but I just like this character. I showed the action figure I just bought of this guy. Now, it was sitting in my drawer in a Mylar sleeve, not really a bag, but this one of these thingies here. I don't know if you can tell, but it had been sitting in my drawer because I did not have a appropriate size early Silver Age comic bag, Mylar, or for that matter, the fullback to go with it. But I bought this here years ago and finally got the appropriate bag. I actually didn't even think this fit in the Silver Age bag. I had to get a Golden Age bag, maybe. No, it was Silver Age bag. Avengers number 57, first appearance of the Vision. This is a beautiful copy. Corners are fairly sharp. Staples are tight. It's a VF Plus, and when I bought this comic, it was an online auction, and I paid less than $130. And obviously now this book goes for way more. It's probably in that condition, $600. Definitely is CGC worthy, but since I don't really grade my comics, it's just really for my personal collection. But a beautiful, beautiful cover, beautiful copy of the Avengers 57. Another online purchase I bought, which I've always loved this cover, by the great Jim Steranko. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Early Silver Age cover, great use of colors. This comic is still tight. The colors are sharp. Still has some gloss on the cover. For the most part, the corners are tight. Staples are tight. There's a couple of spine ticks there. Definitely VF Plus. Probably a 7.5. I paid $76 for that book. And I won that in an auction for $76. And I thought that was a great price for that comic. When I was out of town, I found this book here, and I got this book mainly because I had already purchased this book. And that was Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. from, what year was this? I think it was like 83. The cover is a wraparound cover by Jim Steranko. And you can't really tell on Mylar, but it's a reprint of this copy there. And, so that's really why I got it. It's not really worth anything. Obviously it's not in, I wouldn't say it's in near mint. There's a little fold in the corner, but it's still pretty sharp, pretty clean. But mainly it was because it's a reprint of that comic there. They did have number 2, also a reprint, and another cover by Jim Steranko. When I was there and I purchased these books, I been trying to complete my run of Uncanny X-Men. As Uncanny X-Men, I think Uncanny X-Men just got too... there were just too many X-Men titles. And I think Uncanny X-Men, I know they just rebooted it. It lost its appeal to me because there were just so many titles. And so I really stopped collecting Uncanny X-Men. It used to be one of my favorite titles. Obviously when John Byrne, even when Chris Claremont was still writing it, when Jim Lee took over his art, had all those issues. But when it started getting in the 500s, I kind of dropped off at some point. And so I've been slowly trying to fill that run to the last issue. So these are just run fillers. $391. Greg Land 503. Terry Dotson 504. Really nice covers actually. Terry Dotson, I know her covers really don't have a lot of value, but I think she does good artwork. And that's 505, 506, 507, and then a Greg Land 508. I know there's a lot of controversy about him and now Matina in regards to copying images, but I think his art still, I dig his art. Some other filler issues: New X-Men 139 and 148. And then Mark Silvestri did a run on New X-Men that doesn't really get a lot of talk, but I think the covers are great, and the interior artwork is also great. Some of his best work, actually, in my opinion. New X-Men 151, great Wolverine cover. 152, Nightcrawler. 153 with the Beast. And then 154. And then I've talked about this before. I found another copy for $1. And all those books I got for $1. Heathcliff number 56, the last issue of that series, which has a low print run. For $1, I decided I wasn't going to leave that behind. Now, Strange Blade is a YouTuber who has some great conversation points in his videos. And one of his video hauls, he talked about what constitutes a cameo and what constitutes a first appearance. And really, I think a lot of it's decided by the market. X Factor number 24 is touted as the first appearance of Archangel. And his cameo is in this issue here, X Factor 23. I got for $1. They're all in their mint, 1 newsstand, 2 direct editions. But these comics here, Archangel appears in this comic in 3 or 4 panels. And it's not just a, small, hid shot or shadow shot. I mean, it's full picture of Archangel. And, in my opinion, I think cameos are like 1 panel. And if you go through some comics, the first appearance and cameo, there's no really set standard, just like what Strange Blade said, in regards to what's considered cameo or first appearance. But Archangel is in more than 1 panel in this comic here. It's not really worth a lot, maybe $4 or $5, maybe. But for $1, I decided to pick them up. I do have number 24. I think I may have even shown that in a video. But because Archangel's on the cover of that comic, that's always considered his first appearance, number 24. But I thought I'd show that and bring that up. Some newer comics, which which I think is a great cover by J. Scott Campbell. Amazing Spider-Man number 10, the variant. Now, this comic was cover price. It's a cover price J. Scott Campbell. I love this cover, but when I bought it, there was a limit of 2 copies. And so I got that copy, those 2 copies. I recently went to a LCS in Cleveland, Ohio, and this comic is listed on their wall for $15. I haven't checked online to see what it goes for, but I think this is a comic that might go up in value, like some of the other Amazing Spider-Mans and that he did with Mary Jane. But would have liked to have had more than 2 copies, but I'm fine with the 2 that I got, and I'm not going to go out and buy, at least at this point, more for cover price. I think I might come across some more later at cover price, or a lot cheaper than $15. So I got this comic here for $1. It's the last issue of Marvel Team Up, Volume 1. Got this comic for $1. Marvel Premiere Weird World, number 38.
Hi.
Now, I did get this comic here for $1, and this has some heat on it, but it's not in near mint. You know, it's maybe VG. I mean, it's intact. The staples are attached, but as you can see, you know, there's some issues on the spine. It did have a spine roll, and I did cold press it for quite a bit, and it rolled out pretty well. But for $1, you know, I mean, that book can go for $20 easily in higher grade. It doesn't even have to. I mean, we're not even talking near mint for $20. So for $1, I wasn't going to leave it there. First appearance of Captain Britain. Now, these 2 comics here I got for $1, and for no particular reason other than they were Silver Age books in extremely high grade. Now, when I was at this sale, the signal on my phone prohibited me from looking these comics up. And so I bought them simply because, again, these comics were in great shape for a Silver Age book. This is King Comics, which is part of Charleston. Flash Gordon number 4. Sharp Silver Age book. Flash Gordon number 4. So I bought this and this one also in at least VF Plus condition, if not higher. Now, after I got them home and looked them over, I thought they were actually maybe a little higher than VF Plus, but there was some, you know, color rub on the back. But again, for a 1967 book in the shape that it was in, I decided, hey, I'd pick them up. I did pick up some other Silver Age books that were in very good condition too, similar to this. Actually picked up 4 copies of this particular comic that were in great condition for $1 a piece. After I got the other 2 at home and looked at them, they were probably in VG condition and not VF Plus like these 2, and so I didn't show them. But when I looked these up, these books were online sales sold for $24 a piece. And so for $1, I took a chance only because I have no other Flash Gordon comics. And none by King, for that matter. But for $1 and in condition, I picked them up. Got this comic. It was hot for a little bit. Maybe $10-15 comic. Domino number 8 with Morbius on it. Now, this comic here is still hot. It was a variant cover from Marvel that was not really a ratio. It's kind of like a cover B for DC. But it went hot real quick. And that was X-23 number 7, the Mike Deodato Jr. variant. I bought these actually yesterday in Cleveland at LCS. And they were $8 a piece. And so I bought 2. He had actually quite a few still there. But I figured 2 was enough for me. I didn't want to go and buy all of them. I think he had a total of 4 4 copies. I bought 2 of them. He had 2. The other 2 had a little bit of color up on them. And so I didn't pick them up because sometimes if you try to dry clean yellow, if you're not using the correct eraser, it will rub off the comic. And for a modern comic, if they're not in near mint, there's no point in it. Got this comic for $1. This is Adventure Comics 428. Found this in a bin. Silver Age book. It's the first appearance of the Silver Age Black Orchid. It's not in mint condition, as you can see, right? A bunch of spine ticks, but it's intact. The staples are still attached. Pretty clean copy, other than the spine ticks. There's no like warping or water damage or anything that you might think of. All the pages intact, nothing missing from it. And for $1, I figured that was a great deal. All day long, I'd buy that for $1. Got these also for $1. Lady Bullseye Part 2. Got 2 copies of that. Part 4 for $1. And then Part 5 for $1. My son's still trying to get involved still. This is Harley Quinn number 57. That got kind of hot. Still kind of hot. Maybe a $20 book now. Number 57 by Tedesco. Now, the next books I'm going to show you, the last books I'm going to show you, I cannot believe they were still at this vendor. So, this dude goes to comic conventions. Doesn't really have a shop. He sells comics out of his garage, actually. And but he does go to local Comic-Cons around the Northeast Ohio area. And all his books are either $1 or $2. He doesn't have anything higher than $1 or $2. He buys a bunch of comics at volume, and then he sells them for $1, $2, and I take it back. He does have some $5. He does have a box of $5 books. But other than that, most modern books are $1 or $2. And this book was hot at the time that I bought it, and it just got scorching hot after the first Endgame Avengers trailer. I did not ride the market at the time and put these online, but these comics were selling for easily $30 a piece. They're still going for about $10, probably it's cooled down a little bit, $10, $15. But that was Avengers number 27. These are in near mint condition. Just perfect. Near mint, no spine ticks, clean, white cover. New Avengers number 27. Paid $2 for this comic. When I got him, he said he was surprised because when he goes to these Comic-Cons, a lot of the dealers come to his booth and look for hot comics and buys them from him for $1 and then sells them at their stand or their booth for whatever the going rate is. And so when I got this, he says, yeah, he knew he had them, and he was surprised no one picked them up at $2 a piece. And so I said, well, I'm going to pick them all up if he doesn't mind. He goes, no, I don't care. He says, he wants to sell his comics. That's how he makes his money. He just wants to sell them and get them done. And he doesn't try to sell online or anything. So whether I bought them or some other, customer came and bought them for $2, he didn't really, care. And so, again, this was just before the new Avengers trailer. This was probably late August. I found for $2 each. Avengers 27, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 copies for $2 a piece, and all in near mint condition. So that, as many of you know, is the first appearance of Clint Barton, Hawkeye, as Ronin. I really probably should list these online and sell them to, capture the market, because as all of you know, books will go hot and then they'll go cold. I mean, you think, Crossbones' first appearance from Captain America, I mean, that was almost $100 book at one point when Winter Soldier came out, and now it's what, $10, $20. But that marks my, I find these all the time for $1 or $2, but never a stack of them like that. And so that probably marks my 15th copy of that book. The other issue, number 10, the first appearance of Ronin of New Avengers, that's a little bit harder to find in the wild for $1. You can find it. I found several copies myself, but 27, I think, maybe because a lot of people may not realize that's the first appearance of Clinton Barton as Ronin, doesn't catch on as quick. I think now, it's probably harder to find in dollar bin. But for $2, man, I thought that was a pretty good steal. So with that, I'm going to leave you with that haul. And peace. Thanks for watching and taking your time. Have a good night.